Hey there, hello, and welcome to another episode on the Cybersec Migrant. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about 5 cybersecurity essentials that everyone should know. When I say everyone, I mean everyone from the highest level of tech people to even the average everyday Joe who is on the street. The things you should know in order to use the internet safely. These are 5 cybersecurity essentials you should have. Think of it like this. The internet is like a giant buffet, delicious opportunities everywhere. But if you don't watch out, you might end up with food poisoning. In this case, it's just your personal data that's on the line. So if you're ready, let's get into it. First things first, passwords matter. It's very important. The number of people who still use password 123 is wild. True story, the most hacked password of 2023 was the word guest in lowercase, GUEST. And that was it. Of course, if that was you, don't worry. We're here to fix it and tell you exactly what you need to do. Strong passwords are your first line of defense. If you have a strong password, then it's likely that your account is going to be a lot harder to get into. So what are the basics that you require? What do you need to have a strong password? We recommend at least 12 characters, maybe more. Remember, with passwords, longer is better. Of course, with those characters, mix in uppercase letters, lowercase letters, numbers, and special symbols. So you could mix in an @ or a hashtag or a $sign. And those would actually make your password a lot more secure as well. And of course, no, I love cats 123 all lowercase doesn't really count, except you throw in a random symbol as well too. But of course, one thing you could go a step further if you want to and use what we call a password manager. So that's like a vault where you store all your passwords in that vault, and then you only need to remember the one password that gets you into the vault. Think of it like the one ring to rule them all. That's the password that helps you keep everything safe. So that's a suggestion for you. Make sure you keep your passwords safe. The second thing today is updates and patches. Remember how you have those annoying pop-ups that you have been ignoring for so long that your computer has a pending update and you've just been ignoring it? It's like a dentist appointment. It's unpleasant, you don't like it, but you have to do it if you want to remain healthy. So think about it this way. When a company finds a vulnerability in their software, be it Windows or an application you have installed on your computer, they release these updates to patch those vulnerabilities. Hackers, on the other hand, love it when you don't update, because if you don't update your software, then that vulnerability which was identified still exists, and a hacker can use that to get into your computer and hack you. So, it's like leaving your front door open with a welcome mat saying, "Here, come in and rob me." An example is a few years ago, there was the WannaCry ransomware attack, and it spread like wildfire because people didn't update their Windows systems. The patch had been available for months, but people kept on clicking postpone, 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 postpone until that was the end. So do yourself a favor, a huge favor at that, and turn on automatic updates. So let your devices handle it, because they can do that. So you can have the computer update in the background while you binge watch your favorite TV shows. What do you want to binge watch next? While it's doing this update thing, you're watching your favorite TV show. So that's the second thing I want to talk about today. Now let's talk about fishing. This is not the type we do with a rod and tackle where you're trying to fish for trout or salmon, though I do love salmon. But it is a digital scam where hackers are pretending to be somebody you trust to steal your information. You know how you get all those emails saying you've just won an iPhone, or you just received a payment. Here is your account to send some money. That's it. You might get an example. For example, you might get an email that says your bank account is locked. Click here to verify your details. Spoiler alert, don't click that link. Check the sender's email address. Most phishing attempts use addresses like bank123@notarealbank.com. So if you are in doubt, go directly to the official website or app instead of clicking a link. No bank will send you a link to say, click here to verify your details. The banks do not do that. So if anyone tells you that they are from your bank asking you to do that, it's probably too good to be true. Don't take the bait. Don't forget, if something smells like a fish, looks like a fish, has a fishy smell, it's probably fishy. So always trust your gut. Don't go blindly trusting everything. But trust that your gut tells you. If it looks fishy, if it looks weird, if it looks off, the grammar is wrong, the spelling is wrong, there are obvious mistakes in the text, or you didn't actually buy an item that you've been told you've just received. Hey, you just received, your item is delayed because we can deliver it to you. Or did you buy an item that is getting shipped through UPS? If you did not, why would UPS be trying to give you an item that you did not order for? Get it? That's what they're trying to trick you. Don't fall for it. Don't take. Hey, Cybersec Migrant listeners. If you're enjoying the show, help us spread the word. Share the Cybersec Migrant podcast with your friends, your colleagues, and your network. It's the best way to help others discover our awesome content and to join the conversation. And don't forget to follow us on your favorite podcast platform. We're available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and any other place where you get your podcast, so you never miss an episode. And do hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Your support helps us keep bringing you more valuable content, insights, and stories, and all these tips from the world of cybersecurity. And thank you for tuning in. And now, let's get back to today's episode. Now, let's talk about the fourth one. And this one, a lot of people are guilty about this. Really, really guilty. And we're talking about secure Wi-Fi. Yeah, I know. We all love to go to the coffee shops, and the airport lounges and the hotel lobbies. And the first thing we do is turn on our phone, look for the Wi-Fi, and connect to the free Wi-Fi that's there. Hey, it's free Wi-Fi. I can then download that latest update or that app, or get all the videos in the WhatsApp group chat that have been sent to me that I didn't want to download on my cellular data. Because let's face it, everybody loves free public Wi-Fi. But you shouldn't be using public Wi-Fi without protection. That's like shouting out, here's my PIN and here's my card in a crowded room, So when you're on public Wi-Fi, hackers can actually intercept your data with something called a man-in-the-middle attack, which is where the hacker inserts themselves between you and the network you're trying to get into. And as you pass your data through to that network, they read the data through that and then pass it on. So you never really know that the attacker has gotten your data because they just read it through and it's pretty much transparent. You don't know that they're there. So to stay safe, use what we call a VPN, a virtual private network. What a VPN does is it creates a secure tunnel for your data, making it harder for anyone to snoop on your data. How does it do that? It uses something we call in the industry encryption. So what it does is it takes every single bit of traffic that's going out of your device, your phone, your laptop, whatever it is, and it encrypts that. It turns it into gobbledygook. And no one can read that gobbledygook except the person who the message is intended for. So even if someone was in the middle of your message and read that message, all they would see is a bunch of gibberish and they would not understand what it is. And your data is protected. So use a VPN where you're on public Wi-Fi. That makes it harder for anyone to actually snoop at your data. And even when you're at home, when it's not public Wi-Fi, when it's your own home Wi-Fi, make sure your router is password protected. And no, I don't mean the default password that the provider gave to you. Always make sure that once you get your Wi-Fi router from your provider and they give you the default password, you change the password to something else that is harder for people to guess or recognize. Remember what we spoke about earlier when we spoke about passwords? At least 12 characters or more. And no, don't use the name of your dog. That's not good. Or your child. Don't use obvious items that people can easily guess. Use something that people cannot easily guess. And also while you're there, rename your Wi-Fi network. So don't leave it as whatever the network name is 6748. That doesn't really help. Or don't even give it a very, obvious name like John's Totally Secure Wi-Fi. Don't make it easier for hackers. So just give it something that's very generic, that doesn't even draw attention to itself. Just a very bland, unassuming name. So that way, no one actually is paying attention to it. And better still, if you have the technical abilities, stop SSID broadcasting. What that means is, except the person knows the Wi-Fi is there, it doesn't show up when you search for a Wi-Fi. You have to know the name of the Wi-Fi to be able to connect to it. So that way, you're not broadcasting that, hey, I'm here, look at me, I'm Wi-Fi. So if you can, turn off SSID broadcast, rename your Wi-Fi, and make sure your router is password protected. And finally, and this is also something that I encourage everyone to do this, is talking about backups. Backups will save the day. Imagine you have all your family photos from that last vacation you took to the Bahamas, and then your holidays to Disneyland, and all of that, and your last trip to Europe, and then you lose all of that because you didn't have a backup. How terrible would that be? All those cat memes you'd save from the internet on your phone, and then you lose your phone, or your phone falls in the toilet, and it's unrecoverable and you can't get that data again. Imagine how much data you're going to be losing. That would be a nightmare. So regular backups are one way to ensure that you have a safety net. Use cloud storage or an external drive, or back up your files at least once a week. I always say to people, follow what we call the 3-2-1 rule. Have 3 copies of your data on 2 different devices, one stored offsite. So 3 copies of your data, your phone, your computer, on a flash drive. And make sure that there are at least 2 different devices. So don't have 3 copies on your phone and say, yeah, I've backed it up. No. If your phone gets lost, you lose all 3. So have 3 copies of your data on 2 different devices, and one of them has to be geographically separated. Either somewhere else. It could be in the cloud. It could be a device you're storing in a safe deposit box at the banks. But make sure that it's stored offsite, so that in the event that something physically happens to the location that has one of those devices, you have your offsite device that's still the backup that can help you recover all your data if you need to. I remember a friend of mine once, we're having a laugh, and he spilled coffee on his laptop. Complete disaster. But because he had backups in cloud storage, it was a minor inconvenience, and $1,600 later, with a new laptop, he was able to get all his data back. So it wasn't a meltdown, it was just a huge hole in his pocket. What would you prefer? A hole in your pocket or a hole forever in your memories? Choose what you want. And there you have it. 5 essentials to level up your cybersecurity game. It's like brushing your teeth. It's simple habits. You do them regularly. And if you do them regularly enough, they do help you prevent painful problems later on. So if you can do all of these things that we've talked about, making sure that you are using strong passwords, you are updating your software on your phone, on your computer as often as possible. You don't leave outdated software available. Make sure you're aware of phishing and be careful about every email that comes to you, especially when it is unsolicited email. And make sure that you're using secure Wi-Fi practices. Password protect your Wi-Fi. Don't use public Wi-Fi without a VPN where you can. And of course, make sure that you're backing up your data. If you can do all of these things, then it's going to help you be a lot more secure and have, peace of mind in cyberspace. So let me know down in the comments below, which of these tips did you find helpful and which one are you going to try first? And of course, if you found this helpful, don't forget to hit the like button, share with a friend, and don't forget to subscribe. And together we can actually make the internet a safer place for everyone. Stay safe out there, and I will see you in the next video.